I'm William Grantham with IchimokuWeather.com, and we are going to do a deep analysis of Plug Power Incorporated. We are currently looking at a weekly chart, and we can see that the red line, the Kijun-sen, has gone flat. So this is our first indication of momentum slightly falling off. We are going to be focusing today on momentum and how we can read momentum with Ichimoku. So with the red line being flat, it's showing that the red line does not have momentum at this current time. The blue line, which is calculated with a lower time frame, it's calculated looking back 9 periods, where the red line is calculated looking back 26 periods. On the blue line, we've had a little bit of a upswing with angles pointing up, but it too has now gone flat on the weekly, showing that from the blue Tenkan-sen points of view, momentum has gone flat. The cloud is calculated by taking the highest high and the lowest low over the last 52 periods and then projecting it forward 26 periods. And we can see that it was flat, which showed that the cloud was indicating that we had not have a new higher, lower, low until we had a little bit of a kick up here at the end that was caused by this last little push up to the top. Now, the top part of the cloud is taking the information of the calculations from the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen and adding them together, dividing it by 2, and then projecting it forward 26 periods. So as it is going up, it's showing that the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen together divided by 2 is increasing, showing increasing momentum. However, notice the very last part right here where it has gone flat. This is also indicating that the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen have gone flat and that momentum has started to level off and is not increasing on the weekly at this time. The green lagging line is actually called the momentum indicator by some within the Ichimoku system. And the reason for that is when it is above old market action, the lines and the cloud, it does show positive momentum to the upside. So right now, even though we are seeing the falling off of momentum on the other indicators, the green lagging line, and the lagging line is actually, it's only market action projected 26 periods into the past. So it is showing that we do still have momentum to the upside as long as it is not caught up in old market action. As we're moving forward, if price action can increase and the green line get above market action, then we're going to see that the momentum will be continuing to the upside. However, if market action continues to fall and it pulls the green line down closer to being caught into old market action, it will show the momentum is dying off on the weekly chart. Now, while we're here, let's go ahead and take a look at support and resistance zones. Our first resistance zone is going to be from the Kijun-sen. Now that it has gone flat, it is going to be our resistance zone right above where our current market price is. And look at our current market price. We are in the middle of the week, so we do not have a closed candle on this weekly candle. However, all 3 of the last 3 weeks are at the same level. So we're going to go ahead and put in a line here as well, because that is an indication of a little bit of a stalling right there, a little bit of support from below. It's not going below it. And then underneath that, we do have the blue line here that has gone a little bit flat. So the weekly is showing the next support level being quite a bit lower, down at 25. Our next resistance zone right above us is right where the blue line took the little twist here and started going more flat down at such a great angle. And that also coincidentally shows up at the top of our candles right here. And so that's showing that we do have resistance above at about the 47 points. And then our blue line right here where it's flat is going to be our next resistance line, and right above it we're going to throw in another one that's going to make a nice little resistance zone right above us at 43 up to 54. So that's showing our support down here, and our support, first for support line, we're sitting right on it. The second support line is down at 25, and then our resistance lines above us are at the 43, 47, and then the 53 to 54. I'm going to change these colors so that they're a little bit easier to see on the daily. Now we can see our 2 support lines are the red below our price, and the resistance is the magenta that is right above us. Here we are on the daily, and we can see that with the close of market action today being right at where this red line is at, it does look more like resistance than it does support, for most of the body of today's candle was below this line. So it is resistance right above us. And so we're going to go ahead and change it over to the purple as well. Now below us, we do have our support down at 25. Taking a look at our lines for momentum, we can see that the red line has gone flat. So momentum within the daily Kijun-sen is flat, not having too much in an upward movement. The blue line is below the red line, so that is showing a bearish channel to the downside, and it is sloping down, so that shows a little bit more momentum to the downside rather than to the upside. That is also reflected in our future cloud that is also red, and we do see that the bottom part of the cloud is sloping down, and that is showing more momentum to the downside rather than to the upside. Looking at our lagging green line, we can see that it is trapped underneath the Kijun-sen, the Tenkan-sen, and old market action, so it is trapped in between old market action, the lines, but the cloud below. So right now, the momentum indicator is showing that we are stalled and we do not have upward momentum at this time. If market action continues to trade sideways or goes down a little bit more, and that pulls the green lagging line past the cloud onto this other side, then we will have momentum, but the momentum will be to the downside. We do have quite a bit of resistance above. We've got the lines that we brought in from the weekly. This line right here at 47.83 also is where the cloud line resistance is here on the daily. So that's going to be a really tough level to get up above. And then above it, we can see that our next zone is real close to where the top of the future cloud is and where the Kijun-sen has gone flat as well. We can find a little bit more support now that we are on the daily. We can see this little flat line right here of the cloud. That's going to give us a nice little line at about the 34.9 level. That's going to be our support level right where we're at. And it looks like we did come down and bounce a little bit underneath it and then bounced off and back up. The Kijun-sen back here where it's gone flat is going to be our next support level. We can see it here at about the $29.80. So a little bit of a stair stepping down all the way to the bottom weekly support level that we brought in at $25.71, which is where the flat line of this past cloud is at, and is also where the daily 200 period simple moving average, this black line, is at as well. The current fall in plug power is because of accounting errors. Apparently, there were some accounting errors that went back 2018, 2019 that are just now being reported, and that's what caused the fall. Now, this is showing a very long-term chart. If you had gotten into this stock back in 1999, you might still be in it at $250. So let's hope there's nobody holding on too much right now that got in back then, but most of the people that are watching this video got in hopefully after 2012 and have been riding it up rather than are expecting it to finally get back up to a level that they've been trapped at for quite some time. This is a 2-hour chart, and we can see that market action fell out of the cloud and is now down in between our two support and resistance areas, with the bottom of the cloud on the 2-hour as our resistance above as well. It looks like the blue line has pulled below the red line, so that means that we are in a bearish channel here on the 2-hour, and the blue line is pointing down, showing that it is indicating momentum to the downside right now from the Tenkan-sen's point of view. The lagging line is back here, 26 periods in the past, below the cloud, below market action, below the Kijun-sen, and slightly above the Tenkan-sen. So it's almost free and clear to the downside, a little more sideways action or downward movement, and the lagging green line, the Chikou Span, our momentum indicator of the Ichimoku Kinko-hyo system, will be bearish. The future cloud on the 2-hour has also twisted into a red configuration, and it is sloping down, so the cloud itself on the future is showing momentum to the downside. Looking at this chart, you can see that some of the support and resistance zones that we put in are showing some stickiness. We have a little bit of stickiness right here where we bounced off and came back up above our support zone beneath us. And then right above, we had a lot of market action wavering around the 39.15 level before going up, finding a little bit of resistance at the 43 and tried to get above it a little bit, couldn't quite, finally get above it, run up, and then stall where? Right at our 47.83. Can't get outside the cloud, fall down underneath the Tenkan-sen, and then pulling the Tenkan-sen down below the Kijun-sen, we then fell out of the cloud, and it shows us where we are today. So right now, Plug Power Incorporated is under a little bit of pressure and is trying hard to be able to regain a bullish attitude. I'm William Grantham with Ichimoku Weather.com.